Gullah Gullah Island 1994 wasn't just a TV show, it was childhood comfort. The characters felt like family. The lessons felt safe. But behind that smiling island world, the cast's lives took turns no one expected. From quiet disappearances to shocking reinventions, you won't believe where they are now. Ron Daisy as Ron Alston. Ron Daisy was born on January 29, 1956, in St. Helena Island, South Carolina. At 38 years old, he played Ron Alston, the father of the Alston family, in Gullah Gullah Island. His role gave the show emotional stability, making its cultural lessons feel grounded and believable. That calm presence had a long history behind it. Raised on St. Helena Island, Daisy grew up in a farming community where most families relied on seasonal labor to survive. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, he worked alongside relatives while attending school. These memories later surfaced directly in his first major work, reminiscences of Sea Island heritage, which drew from lived routines rather than abstract memory. As his work reached a national audience through Gullah Gullah Island, Daisy faced a different kind of pressure. Acting was only one part of the job. He was also expected to safeguard cultural accuracy on screen. This responsibility influenced his later writing, including Gullah Branches, West African Roots, where explanation replaced performance and precision mattered more than visibility. Over time, Daisy shifted away from regular acting and toward cultural leadership. His focus moved into education, public speaking, and institutional work, including a long tenure with Brook Green Gardens. The transition reflected a steady narrowing of purpose rather than retreat. Today, Ron Days is 70 years old. He continues to write, lecture, and advise on Gullah Geechee preservation while maintaining a low public profile. His estimated net worth of $2 million comes from decades of television work, books, and cultural leadership built slowly over time. Natalie Days as Natalie Alston. Natalie Days was born on November 11, 1960, in Rochester, New York. At 34 years old, she played Natalie Alston, the mother and emotional center, in Gullah Gullah Island. Her role helped the show feel safe and intimate, especially for young viewers. That warmth was shaped early. Growing up in Rochester during the 1970s, Natalie experienced a household that depended on steady work and discipline. She took part-time jobs while still in school, learning early how responsibility could limit freedom. When she later moved to South Carolina, adapting to a new cultural environment sharpened her awareness. Thanks to this experiences, she later embodied a character in projects like Sea Island Montage. As Gullah Gullah Island expanded, Natalie balanced on-camera work with creative responsibilities off-screen. Filming schedules, live performances, and educational appearances followed one another without pause. She later appeared in related productions such as Gullah Gullah Island, Sing Along with Binya Binya, maintaining consistency under constant demand. Eventually, Natalie redirected her creative energy. Visual art and smaller performances became central to her work, offering control over pace and expression. Painting allowed her to remain connected to cultural storytelling without the intensity of continuous television production. Now, Natalie Days is 66 years old. She remains active in cultural education, painting, and community programs, often collaborating on heritage-based projects. With an estimated net worth of $1.5 million, her career reflects endurance shaped by careful choices rather than constant exposure. Vanessa Baden as Vanessa Alston. Vanessa Baden was born on September 8, 1985, in Manhattan Beach, California. At 9 years old, she played Vanessa Alston, the curious and expressive daughter, in Gullah Gullah Island. Her performance brought youthful energy to the series and helped anchor the show's family dynamic. That visibility arrived from her childhood. Raised in Satellite Beach, Florida, Baden entered modeling as a child, appearing in print ads before most children understood auditions. By elementary school, her schedule was already split between classrooms and castings, a pace that intensified after Gullah Gullah Island. During this period, she also appeared in projects like Rosewood, 1997, while managing school pressures that followed her growing public recognition. As she moved into her teenage years, Baden faced a difficult transition. Child fame created expectations that did not translate smoothly into adult roles, leading to a noticeable pause in her acting career. She later re-emerged in digital and independent projects, rebuilding momentum through smaller platforms rather than mainstream television. That reset became decisive. In 2017, Baden returned as a creative force in the web series Giants, where she starred as Journey while also co-writing and co-producing the show. The project marked a shift from performer to storyteller, culminating in a Daytime Emmy Award win in 2019, validating her long return rather than her early fame. Today, Vanessa Baden is 41 years old. She continues working as an actress, writer, and producer, with credits including The Sex Lives of College Girls and ongoing creative development. Her estimated net worth of $300,000 reflects a career rebuilt through persistence and creative control rather than childhood stardom alone. James Edward Coleman II. As James Alston. James Edward Coleman II was born on June 23, 1984, in Gainesville, Florida. At 10 years old, he played James Alston, the quiet and observant son, in Gullah Gullah Island. His presence added emotional balance to the Alston family, often grounding scenes with subtle restraint. That responsibility was built on his experiences long ago. Growing up in Florida, Coleman entered acting while still navigating school life, juggling auditions with coursework. The attention surrounding Gullah Gullah Island placed pressure on his daily routine, a strain that followed him into later roles such as Rosewood, 1997, and Shaina, 2001. Balancing expectations with personal growth became increasingly difficult as opportunities narrowed. As he grew older, Coleman stepped back from regular acting work. He explored music and private creative interests, choosing distance from the industry rather than competing for diminishing roles. The shift brought fewer public credits, but allowed him to redefine success away from constant visibility. Health challenges later shaped the final years of his life. Ongoing illness affected his ability to work consistently, placing additional strain on his personal life as he focused on supporting his son, Braxton. His public appearances became rare, and his creative output slowed significantly. Sadly, James Edward Coleman II passed away on March 10, 2021, in Florida, at the age of 36 due to illness. He was remembered quietly by family and friends rather than through public memorials. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was approximately $100,000, reflecting a life shaped by early promise, withdrawal, and unresolved potential. Simeon Othello Days as Simeon Alston. Simeon Othello Days was born on April 26, 1993, in Beaufort, South Carolina. At 1 year old, he appeared as Simeon Alston, the youngest child of the Alston family, in Gullah Gullah Island. His presence completed the family portrait and reinforced the show's emphasis on real-life continuity. That early exposure shaped everything that followed. Growing up in a household led by two nationally recognized cultural figures, Simeon spent much of his childhood surrounded by cameras, rehearsals, and public attention. Privacy became difficult to maintain, especially as audiences associated him with the Alston family long before he could form his own identity. By adolescence, stepping away from acting became necessary to regain personal space rather than chase visibility. As an adult, Simeon returned to the industry on his own terms. He appeared in projects such as All-American, 2021, and Cheaper by the Dozen, 2022, choosing roles that allowed him to work without being defined by his childhood image. The gap between appearances reflected intention rather than absence, as he balanced modeling with selective acting work. Those pauses marked periods of recalibration. Rather than rushing toward constant exposure, Simeon took time away from sets to reassess direction, a decision that slowed momentum but preserved creative control. The industry remained present, but no longer dominant. Today, Simeon Days is 33 years old. He continues working as an actor and model while developing projects behind the camera. With an estimated net worth of $500,000, his career reflects gradual rebuilding rather than inherited momentum. Shaina M. Freeman as Shaina Alston. Shaina M. Freeman was born on October 10, 1988, in Orlando, Florida. At 6 years old, she played Shaina Alston, the spirited daughter of the Alston family, in Gullah Gullah Island. Her performance brought warmth and relatability to the show's younger audience, making her one of the most recognizable child faces of the series. That visibility came from her child lessons. During her early childhood, Freeman's family relocated to California, abruptly changing the rhythm of her life. School routines, friendships, and filming schedules were all disrupted at once. After appearing in Gullah Gullah Island and later in Gullah Gullah Island, sing-along with Binya Binya, the family chose consistency over continuation, stepping away from television to protect a more stable daily life. As she grew older, the absence from acting became a quiet turning point. Industry interest resurfaced during her adolescent years, with suggestions that she could return to entertainment, especially as former child actors from similar shows transitioned into teen roles. Freeman declined that path, prioritizing education and personal development instead of auditions, allowing the momentum of childhood fame to fade without spectacle. Adulthood introduced a different set of demands. Marriage and later motherhood reshaped her focus, particularly after welcoming twins. While she no longer pursued acting roles, the discipline learned on sets like Gullah Gullah Island and its spin-off productions translated into real-world skills, time management, communication, and emotional awareness, now applied within family life and professional settings. Today, Shaina M. Freeman is 38 years old. She works in customer experience management, a field that relies on empathy, structure, and clear communication. With an estimated net worth of $200,000, her story reflects a conscious decision to step away from early fame and build a grounded life defined by stability rather than visibility. Justin Campbell as Binya. Binya Pollywog. Justin Campbell was born on February 15, 1972. At 24 years old, he stepped into the role of Binya Pollywog, the iconic frog character, in Gullah Gullah Island. Taking over the role carried emotional weight, as the character had already become a symbol for young audiences, and the pressure followed him the moment he appeared on screen. The circumstances made the challenge heavier. Campbell joined the show shortly after the sudden death of the original performer, a loss still fresh for the cast, crew, and viewers. Learning the demanding physical choreography of the costume while preserving the character's warmth required constant adjustment. At the same time, he was training formally in theater, drawing on discipline that would later define his stage and screen work, including early dramatic projects that shaped his transition beyond children's television. After Gullah Gullah Island, Campbell deliberately changed direction. He stepped away from youth programming and pursued more grounded roles, appearing in films such as Andy Across the Water, 2002, and later in intense ensemble dramas like The Hurt Locker, 2008, and Detachment, 2011. These projects reflected a clear pivot toward serious storytelling, where restraint and emotional control mattered more than recognition. Public visibility returned in an unexpected way. Campbell became widely recognized through the long-running Jake from State Farm commercial series, a role that brought him into millions of households again. The attention sparked online rumors and public confusion that briefly overshadowed his film work, even as he continued refining his craft through selective appearances, including roles in detachment and later independent features that favored depth over exposure. Now, Justin Campbell is 54 years old. He remains active as an actor, most recently appearing in The Last Manhunt, 2022, while maintaining a low public profile and choosing projects carefully. His estimated net worth of $100,000 reflects a career built on adaptation and persistence. Less about fame, more about staying true to the work through constant change. Tristan Mays as Shaina Alston. Tristan Mays was born on June 10, 1990, in New Orleans, Louisiana. At 7 years old, she played Shaina Alston, the lively daughter, in Gullah Gullah Island. Her arrival refreshed the role and kept the family dynamic energetic during the later seasons. That pace began early. Raised in New York City, Mays entered modeling as a child, signing with a major agency and booking national commercials before elementary school ended. Her schedule filled quickly with auditions, rehearsals, and travel, followed by a family relocation to California that reshaped her routine. At the same time, she balanced television work with stage performances, including Broadway's The Lion King as young Nala, proving her versatility at a very young age. As she grew older, the shift from child roles to adult casting proved uneven. Mays appeared in series such as The Vampire Diaries and Everybody Hates Chris, taking guest roles while searching for a stable identity on screen. The inconsistency slowed momentum, but widened her range, preparing her for more demanding work. That breakthrough arrived with MacGyver, 2016 to 2021, where she portrayed Riley Davis, a technically skilled covert operative. The role redefined her career, moving her from former child actor to long-term series lead. Alongside acting, she expanded into music, fashion, and business ventures, steadily building independence beyond television. Today, Tristan Mays is 36 years old. She continues working as an actress and entrepreneur, with ongoing development projects across film, television, and design. Her estimated net worth of $1 million reflects a career sustained through reinvention rather than early fame alone. Philip D. Garcia as Binya. Binya Pollywog. Philip D. Garcia was born in 1969. At 25 years old, he played Binya Pollywog, the larger-than-life frog character, in Gullah Gullah Island. His performance became the show's most recognizable symbol, instantly memorable to an entire generation of viewers. That visibility came with risk. Garcia pursued acting at a time when opportunities were limited and competition intense. Securing the role of Binya offered rare stability, but the character's physical demands and constant performance schedule required relentless energy. The role defined his career almost entirely, leaving little room to branch into other projects. During the show's run, Garcia focused fully on maintaining the character's presence. Appearances, promotions, and filming cycles revolved around the role, making Gullah Gullah Island both his greatest opportunity and his narrowest lane. Plans to expand his acting career were still forming when his life was abruptly cut short. Philip D. Garcia passed away on January 3, 1997, in Orlando, Florida, at the age of 27, following a car accident. He was remembered primarily through the character that defined him, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $50,000 and a legacy frozen in childhood memory. Iris Chacon as Miss Juana. Iris Chacon was born on March 7, 1950, in San Juan, Puerto Rico. At 44 years old, she appeared as Miss Juana, a vibrant cultural presence in Gullah Gullah Island. Her appearance linked the show to a broader Latin American entertainment legacy. All those experiences came from what she learned from reality. Raised in Puerto Rico during a period of economic limitation, Chacon entered entertainment young, relying on performance as a path forward. By the 1970s and early 1980s, she became a dominant television figure through The Iris Chacon Show, touring across Latin America, the United States, Europe, and Japan. Her image was bold, celebrated, and constantly scrutinized. At the height of her fame, Chacon navigated intense public attention tied to her body and persona. Appearances on programs hosted by David Letterman and Merv Griffin expanded her visibility, while iconic moments, such as her widely discussed 1982 Amelie Oil commercial, cemented her status as a cultural phenomenon rather than a conventional actress. As trends shifted, Chacon adjusted her presence. She stepped back from constant television production in the mid-1980s, choosing selective appearances instead of sustaining a weekly show. This recalibration preserved her influence while reducing the strain of non-stop exposure. Today, Iris Chacon is 76 years old. She divides her time between Puerto Rico and Orlando, maintaining her status as a revered entertainment icon. Married to Yuno Faria since 1977, she has built a life anchored in longevity rather than reinvention, with an estimated net worth of $1 million reflecting decades of cultural impact. Manolo Villaverde as Abuelo. Manolo Villaverde was born on August 11, 1936, in Havana, Cuba. At 58 years old, he played Abuelo, the wise elder figure, in Gullah Gullah Island. His role added generational depth to the show, grounding its playful tone in lived history. That gravitas came from his real experience. Villaverde grew up in Cuba during political instability and began acting on Cuban television in the late 1950s. In 1964, following the rise of Fidel Castro, he left the country and rebuilt his life in the United States. The displacement shaped his identity and later informed his restrained, naturalistic acting style. His breakthrough arrived with Pepe Peña in Que Pasa, USA, 1977 to 1980, the first bilingual American sitcom. The role earned him a regional Emmy Award in 1978, establishing him as a respected figure in Latino television. Later appearances, including Wise Guy, reinforced his reputation as a serious character actor. By the time he joined Gullah Gullah Island, Villaverde brought decades of stage and screen discipline to children's television. He treated the role with the same care as prestige drama, offering warmth without exaggeration. Outside acting, he devoted time to writing, painting, and researching a historical novel. Manolo Villaverde passed away at his home in Daytona Beach, Florida, on January 10, 2026, at the age of 89, due to natural causes related to age. He left behind an estimated net worth of $500,000, the quiet result of a long career built on craft, migration, and restraint. Sarah Makeba Daisy as Sarah. Sarah Makeba Daisy was born around 1990. At approximately 4 years old, she played Sarah, a young member of the Alston household, in Gullah Gullah Island. Her presence reinforced the show's family realism, blurring the line between fiction and real life. Of course, he gained this role due to what she got overcome many difficulties in her real life. Growing up within a household already shaped by cameras and cultural responsibility, Sarah experienced early exposure few children could fully understand. Appearing on set alongside her parents and brother meant growing up in a working environment rather than a private one. The attention arrived early, and so did the pressure to represent something larger than herself. As she grew older, Sarah did not remain in front of the camera. Instead, she redirected her focus toward education and historical research, choosing study over performance. This shift marked a clear departure from entertainment, even as Gullah Gullah Island continued to define public memory of her childhood. Her academic path led her to earn a master's degree in history, where research replaced rehearsal. Writing and scholarship became her primary tools, allowing her to explore cultural narratives with distance rather than display. The decision reflected control regained rather than opportunity lost. Today, Sarah Makeba Daisy is approximately 36 years old. She works as a historian and writer, contributing to cultural preservation through research instead of performance. With an estimated net worth of $200,000, her life stands as a deliberate turn away from early visibility toward quiet authorship. Anna Christina Randolph as Marisol. Anna Christina Randolph was born around 1980. At approximately 14 years old, she played Marisol, a composed, observant presence in Gullah Gullah Island. Her role added a quieter counterpoint to the ensemble, giving the show moments of calm reflection. That balance was learned quickly from stars who she learned in real life. Entering television as a teenager meant adjusting to professional expectations while still navigating school life. Filming schedules and rehearsals tightened her routine, leaving little room for missteps. During this period, she moved between youth-oriented sets and more conventional productions, gaining early discipline that shaped her on-screen restraint. After Gullah Gullah Island, Randolph continued acting with selective roles. She appeared in Safe Harbor, 1999, and later Noah Knows Best, 2000, projects that marked a shift toward older characters and different tonal demands. The transition required patience, as opportunities arrived sporadically rather than in steady succession. As the industry changed, Randolph stepped back from constant visibility. Short runs and guest appearances replaced long-term commitments, allowing her to recalibrate priorities without fully leaving the craft. The quieter pace reflected choice as much as circumstance. In 2026, Anna Christina Randolph is approximately 46 years old. She maintains a low public profile while remaining connected to creative work shaped by her early television years. With an estimated net worth of $150,000, her career reflects a brief but focused period of recognition, followed by a measured step into privacy. More than 3 decades after Gullah Gullah Island first aired in 1994, the cast's real lives tell stories far more complex than the gentle world we remember. Some stepped away from fame by choice, others fought to redefine themselves, and a few carried the weight of early exposure for years. Looking back now, the contrast between then and now feels both nostalgic and quietly heartbreaking. So which cast member's journey surprised you the most? And who do you barely recognize today? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Gullah Gullah Island 1994 cast, then and now, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next story.